Hi friends, wait, you cannot see me. Okay, wait 1 second, let me back up. That better? That's better. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Dalia, and today we are on Grim Isle, working on part 2 of my most recent video, where we are on the mission to finish my island. We only have 3 videos left to finish, this video being one of them. Basically, I'm just building very big parts of my island. So let me show you guys what we built in the last video, including this really cool sunken dining room. And then if you follow me over here, there's this walkway. And then you have Kiki's house at the farmer's market. Super cute, obsessed with this area. And then you come over here and we have a dungeon? Is that a weird thing to say? We have a dungeon. Look how cute Dobie is, smelling the flowers. Adorable. But yeah, today we're continuing on doing part 2 of this very large build. And by large build, I mean it's big, because we have to decorate this entire area. And I'm also going to be decorating to the right of it on the first cliff, and then in front of it, because we're going to do a villager's house too. I am nervous. So anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do, don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys would like to see more videos from me. Helps me out so much, so click that subscribe button. It's free. It only takes a second. So let's get started with today's video. But first, hit that subscribe button, okay? Okay. Anyway, we're gonna get started. This video I had to edit down so much. I was originally gonna do this video into 2 parts, but I had so much. Okay, I'm lying. I didn't have any inspiration, but I had determination. I knew that I wanted to build something amazing. Did I know what I wanted to build? No. I knew that this area right here, which is honestly so skinny, I wasn't gonna like make something crazy here. It's a very small little stretch of land, so I essentially wanted to make kind of like a land bridge where I could have a couple of the covered carts, like the covered wagons, and it kind of looks like a transition space where you have like carriages being carried by horses, as is meant to be like a medieval island. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos for this island, I will have a playlist listed in the description, but essentially it's like an abandoned medieval island that has been overrun by witches. So the abandoned part is you have this castle that has been in shambles, which is why I use a lot of the castle items on this island in like the distress version. And then the certain parts of the island have now been populated by witches, which is why almost every single villager of mine is a girl. I only have 2 boy witches. I only have 2 boy villagers on this island, and it is Dobie, who you just saw a moment ago, and Zell. Don't know why I have Zell. He just kind of happened. Not mad about it. Love him, and he is going to be one of the last few builds for his house. Will be in the last couple of videos. But yeah, we have 4 villagers' houses left to decorate. We have Zell, we have Shino, we have Deirdre, and Molly. So Deirdre's house is the house that we're going to be building today. Initially, I was not going to build a villager's home on this section of land, which is why she ends up actually getting moved onto the first tier directly below the area we're supposed to be decorating right now. And I really wanted to incorporate her into this build because I felt like I said, I was doing this like carriage area where like the horses are being carried, and I wanted to make a little stable area. So that's what we're going to be doing for Deirdre. I felt like it was cute, Deirdre being like the stable owner. I think on my last autumn island I had an actual horse as the stable owner, because I did have a stable on that island because it was a farm core island. But yeah, so we're just building an incline really quick, and the incline is kind of positioned like directly in front of like the little road I have going on, and it's kind of like your carriage can kind of go down the slope, because we can't make actual slopes on this island, on this like an actual like hill, so we're just kind of making do with the incline. So I quickly time traveled, moved Deirdre's house. As you guys saw, I did customize it to kind of like this like darker, like a darker roof and darker door, and then gave her more of a lighter color just to kind of contrast, because I knew I was going to be using some simple panels and some storefronts in more of a dark wood color, and I wanted there to be a nice contrast from her house. And I also knew I was going to be making this little pasture, I guess you can call it, for the horses. And I knew I wanted to have it be in the light dirt, so I wanted some contrast with the different variations of brown. And yeah, and then I also decided to use the gazebo as like little roof for the stable, which is why you consistently see me changing the layout of the cliffs behind Deirdre's house, because I couldn't figure out just how much space I wanted for the dimensions. Worked out just fine. And then we're using some simple panels with some horses, you know, keeping it really simple. I did download 2 different variations of this design to use for simple panels, and then I already had this kind of like door simple panel design already downloaded that I've used a few times on my island so far, and I think it works perfectly for like a little barn. And then for this entire area, we're just going to block it off using some fencing and really just keep it very simple with some hay bales, some wheat fields, and then using the rodeo style springy ride-on, which is like the more of a neutral dark brown color of the springy ride-on. It's one of like the seasonal ones that you can download or purchase through the Nook Stop. So that is what we're going to be doing. And I went with the barbed wire fencing. I always think that this type of fencing is perfect for this kind of build, like when you're trying to cut off an area like this. I think it's very pasture-esque looking. And yeah, and then I do use a couple of hay beds, but I like the height that the wheat fields give, especially like how it kind of blocks off the awkwardness of like the double placement of the design on the simple panels. And yeah, and then as I was building this, I realized I'm basically completely out of pirate barrels, so I'm gonna have to go buy a couple more of those, because my next couple of builds are gonna definitely include a few more of those. Yeah, honestly, I go to so many treasure islands to pick up items. I swear, I think half my builds are just me. Like, that's why it takes me like 4 or 5 hours to make a video or like make a build, is because I constantly realize I need items and I have to go get them. And because I use usually free treasure islands on Twitch, it takes me a while, obviously, because it's very popular and there's like other people using them at the same time as you. So this area came together quite quickly. It's really simple to make an area like this. As you guys can see, the rodeo springy ride-on just has this like really nice color. It's a little more neutral compared to the like original variations of the springy ride-ons that are more of like, there's like a one that's like a lighter caramel kind of brown, but once again doesn't quite fit with the theme, doesn't quite fit with like the color scheme I'm going with. So I think this variation is really pretty. And then I'm also just gonna plant a couple of weeds just to finish off the area, and I wanted a tree stump here too for some reason, so I just quickly planted one and then cut it down. And then we'll be moving on to the back area, and essentially I made this spot because I did not want to start decorating the second cliff because I didn't know what I was going to do. In the end, this build came together fantastically, and I'm really happy with the final result. But the thing with me is I'm not running out of ideas for this island, but I've run out of space to the point where like there's a couple of builds that I knew I wanted to make that I don't think I'm gonna get a chance to, which is why I think making these videos in the next couple of weeks, which I think my next video is also going to be for this island. I do want to get back to decorating Frostbite, which is my winter trash core island. But I think at least my next video, which I will have up in the next couple of days, will definitely be on this island too, as I'm in the process of, like I said, trying to finish this island by mid-March, hopefully. This video is going up on the 7th, so it's already, like, we're already like almost a third into March, which is insane. And yeah, like, I don't want to push myself to like try to go too fast with the island, but at this point, like, I'm very slow when it comes to making my islands, and I've been making this island for a few months already, and by a few, I think it's been at least four months, maybe 5. And I'm ready to move on to another island, not because I don't love it, but just because I'm like at a point where I really just want to see it completed and want to move on to another theme so I can, like, you know, just experience a new theme. Also, if you guys have noticed, my voice is a little bit raspy right now. I'm like trying to fight a cold right now, and have been for the last like day and a half, 2 days. So I feel like I'm just like 1 second away from getting sick. Hopefully I'm not, but unfortunately it's just one of those things that you can't avoid. And like I said, I will be decorating this area here that's on like the corner of my map, directly below the fishing dock area that I made for Coco. And here I thought it'd be fun just to kind of like tie in the little land bridge and Deirdre's stables. I'm making a little area here where you can kind of like, it looks as if like people are parking the covered wagons, or like you can rent covered wagons. I thought it would be kind of cute to throw this area directly next to the fishing harbor, or like the fishing docks, because it's like someone visiting could just rent a carriage from here. And I don't know, it's really cute. I wanted to throw something up against the cliff that wasn't just throwing a bunch of trees, because this area going down along the right side, along the beach, is just going to be a pathway with trees, which I knew I was going to do when I made Coco's area. But yeah, so moving back to the second cliff, my main issue, I think that's the word I'll use. My main issue with this area here is that I did not know how I wanted to kind of like obscure your view of the dining room. I wanted, because my dungeon is nicely placed directly behind another build, so you can kind of like, it's hidden. When I finished this video the last time, my dining room area was just right out in the open, had nothing around it, and I'm like, how can I obscure this without like completely hiding it away? And this is one of the areas that is meant to be hidden, is meant to be something you kind of like stumble upon, as it is like the abandoned section of the castle that has been long since like left behind. So I wanted to do something that would like hide it, but still not like fully obscure it. So I'm just using this mossy stone path that has been like the main path of use on all the areas that are more like abandoned sections of the old kingdom, and I'm using this to tie in to the dining room. And what I'm gonna do here is essentially like what I did for my town square that I made like this abandoned town square that had like a bunch of fake buildings, and it had like a bell tower in the middle. I'm essentially doing exactly that. I'm gonna make a bunch of very simple fake buildings, using some of the castle items, using some storefronts, and a couple of gazebos and pergolas. And what's really easy about this is that I don't need to make them look realistic. They're meant to be like buildings in various states of ruin because this area is meant to be part of the abandoned part of the castle or the kingdom in general, which is why I like using the pergolas. I think that it kind of looks like moss has grown on the roofs of these buildings, and I'm placing pergolas on either side in front of the dining room, and then using just different tall items as my my walls, as the fronts of buildings, medieval building sides, a couple of the ruined items, some just really, they don't have to be perfectly put together. Like, this is what makes building something like this very simple. It's really just various fake buildings. I'm also using the ruined arch, so you can kind of like walk through this one, which I kind of like because you can kind of get to the other side here on the left. And it's just, I don't know, it's really, really nice. I did have to quickly extend the cliff out one tile forward, which I think works out really well because it allowed me to push all my buildings forward a little bit, and then it gave me a little more room to work with in front of the dining room. And then I used the giant vine, as you guys can see, just to block off so you can't actually walk to the other side of the area unless you go through the ruined archway. And yeah, and then I'm quickly making a cliff tree, as you guys have seen me do many a time before. It's really awkward because I have that cliff that's like directly next to Poppy's house right there with the apple trees on it, and I don't want these two cliffs to touch, so I'm like one tile away from touching.
She's touching me. She's touching me.
I'm not touching you.
You're touching me.
Not touching.
But trying to avoid having them touch because I don't want to get rid of that fake cliff, and I don't want that cliff to move on to this cliff. So the other side here, which is the only thing I decorate on this side for my dining room, is I'm just placing a couple of castle walls just to kind of encase the area a little bit. You do have the vines that you can use to go down in the area, so I'm just making sure that the castle walls are in the right position in order to do that. And then I'm going back to just finish up the area with a couple more gazebos. I like that the gazebos look like kind of like straw or hay style roofs for my buildings, and they match really well with, like, for example, Deirdre's house, which is right there. Obviously different colors, but I think the overall like cohesiveness of the two roofs just like work really well. And then I'm just adding a little more height to this storefront fake building that I did before. And then I'm replacing the original storefront building sides that I placed with some castle walls. Once again, is it a very realistic building? No, but it makes sense. Like, it doesn't really have to make sense. It's just meant to look like a fake structure or a structure in ruin, you know? And then because, like I said, I wanted to replicate my town square, I did have a stone well in the middle of that town square. I decided to go with the brick well. I just think it looks really cute. It's like, you know, these like really beautiful like town squares you see in like Storybrooke. This is not Once Upon a Time. In storybooks where there's like a really pretty well or like a fountain in the middle of this area. That's what it's meant to look like. And yeah, and then I'm just kind of throwing down a couple of items. I didn't have a lot of space to work with here because I wanted to make sure I can include a lot of my more like natural elements, including flowers, a couple more trees, some weeds and stuff. So I'm really just filling in the space as minimally as possible because this is meant to be more run down, and because I didn't want it to be exactly like my town square. My town square has a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for, like stalls, and like it looks like more of an area of business. This area I wanted it to be more like housing, I guess you could say. So it really doesn't have any like like stalls or anything really like excessive along the sides. It's mainly just the buildings themselves, but I did include like a little bit of decor here and there and a couple of like barrels and things just to kind of like tie the space together. And then I put a little duck in front of the pond, like not the pond, the well, which I think is so cute. And then I'm telling you guys right now, for my next couple of videos for this island, the areas that I create that have like the flowers, trees, and all like the grown in things that I have to like plant, I'm going to be cutting that down either significantly or just doing it off camera, simply because I know the next couple of videos are going to be long and I don't want it to be like an hour-long video of me just planting flowers, and it really just takes me a long time to decide how I want to place those things. So just to completely avoid it, I'm just going to do that off camera. As you'll see here, I started planting some weeds and flowers around the town square type of area, and I kept like not being able to place stuff down, and then I couldn't pick up anything either, so I'm gonna do everything off camera. So you guys will just see broken up parts of it, but like, does anyone really want to spend an hour watching me plant trees and flowers? Like, look how good that looks. Like, I quickly did this. It took me a little bit of time, but it's something I can do off camera. And something I'm really been enjoying doing, as you guys have seen, is placing down dropped items, including the mushrooms, especially on the paths that I've been using. I think it adds that like very overgrown look. And yeah, I also planted a couple of vines, or like placed a couple of vines on these cliffs. The next area I'm going to be decorating is this area directly below here, which is going to be between Deirdre's stable and the apple orchard I made for Poppy. And then this area here is the last spot we're going to be decorating for this build. I'm going to be cutting this down significantly. I'm literally just going to be making a path using this mossy path that I've been using for my island, and then planting a bunch of trees on the right side, and then leaving the left side kind of more open. I just really wanted to plant trees just to kind of like cut off the beach, and really just to give the area a lot of height. I might have to go back and rearrange a couple of the trees. I think I can add a little bit more just to give it a lot more like depth and give it more of a very overgrown kind of clustered feel. And then I'm also using giant vines as well. And then for this path, I'm literally just doing it straight down just to lead it directly to the stable. As you can see here, I do leave the front of the stable completely untouched today because that is going to be part 3 of this build, I guess you can say. Not really part 3, but just a continuation of the build. Deirdre's house is essentially finished, but it is the area around her home outside of the stable that has to be finished. And yeah, so I'm just quickly using this path just to kind of, you know, navigate the space. And I'm liking using this like wooden plank stepping stone design in in collaboration with the mossy design I've been using too. I also absolutely hate that you cannot plant trees right up against the grass where the beach meets. It drives me crazy because you can plant trees like palm trees right up against that line on the beach. So why can't you do the same on land? Once again, it's something else that Nintendo was never going to fix because they're never going to update this game anymore, and it's just something that doesn't make absolutely no sense to me. I don't know, it bugs me. Anyway, I'm just kind of filling in the space directly beside this rental area for the carriages, and I kind of wanted to incorporate a couple of items so it matched the stable, just because I didn't want to have to like just plant trees and flowers in this space, so I'm trying to incorporate a couple more custom designs and then just kind of make the areas match a little bit better to each other. So just keeping it really simple. A couple of barrels, a stacked bag, and just really like simple items you'd find like in a barn, I guess you could say. And really, I think this entire spot came together really nicely, especially considering I did not know what I was doing. I think the area, like with the storefronts up against the cliffs, just really look very cohesive with the second cliff with all the fake buildings. It looks like everything's one giant building, even though it's not, and they are sectioned differently from one another. But yeah, and then I'm just extending the path going down this cliff, like I said, with the incline. Once again, this is meant to look kind of like a hill that the horses and the carriages can kind of go down. Obviously they cannot do that, but we'll put the illusion that they can. So I'm just using the mossy path just to kind of like tie all the paths together. As you can see, the paths all like merge really nicely. And one thing I did do off camera yesterday is I was fixing up a couple of areas on my map that look very clustered. I'm trying to do more of like you have a very clear, distinct pathway, and then I have my trees kind of sectioned off on certain sides, which you will see I did try my best to do it with this area here. And then I'm planting a bunch of like stunted trees, so I'm gonna like grow them to different heights. And I think growing trees to different heights really just adds a lot more realism, but also I feel like it looks a lot not fuller, but like, I don't know, a lot more natural, as opposed to just having them all be the same height. And I'm also, as I'm finishing up this section of the build, I'm further into November. I will be time traveling back to like mid-November for my dream address. So my trees are all different colors. So I have the oranges, you get the reds, you get the yellows. Because at this point in November, I think I'm like November 20 something. Most of my hardwood trees have all turned red, which is such a pretty look, but I want all the hues of fall. So I left it there with the decorating on screen. So I quickly time traveled, planted everything I needed to plant, made sure everything was the right height, everything was very overgrown, lush, and beautiful. So without further ado, let's go check out the final build. Alright, that is everything for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. I think this island is just coming together so perfectly, and I cannot wait to finish it and release my dream address in the next couple of weeks. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more videos from me. And yeah, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!